The Galactic Concord Arena stood in the center of the floating city of Talmaris, glowing with energy and excitement. It was the place where warriors from across the galaxy came to test their strength, skill, and courage. On this day, the final match of the Trials of Strength was about to begin, and the crowd was larger than ever before. Thousands of aliens from many different worlds filled the stands. Some had wings, some had scales, some glowed with light, but all had one thing in common. They came to watch the strongest fighters from the galaxy compete. Flags of different colors waved in the air. The sound of music and cheering echoed through the city. In the center of the arena, the ground shimmered with force fields. Giant screens showed the faces of the final two fighters. One was Vor, the champion from planet Dreza. He was tall, with thick armor made of black crystal. His eyes glowed red, and his voice rumbled like thunder. Vor had never lost a match. His people were known for their strength and pride. The other face on the screen was different. It showed a young human woman named Lena. She wore simple armor, nothing special or advanced. Her shield looked small and light. Her eyes were calm, and her expression showed no fear. Many in the crowd were surprised to see a human in the final round. Some even laughed. Inside the fighter's gate, Vor stood with his arms crossed. He looked at the screen and chuckled. His assistant, a small creature with a round body and two arms, floated beside him. "She's your final opponent," the assistant asked. Vor shook his head and smiled. "A human. This will be quick. Her kind should stick to farming and talking." The assistant giggled. "Maybe she has some tricks," Vor grunted. "I will snap her shield like a leaf. The crowd wants a show. I will give them one." At the other gate, Lena stood alone. She checked her gear quietly. Her armor was clean, but not new. Her shield was scratched from past matches. She adjusted the strap on her arm and closed her eyes for a moment. She thought of Earth, of the long training days, of the times people said humans could not match alien warriors. She remembered the long journey to the trials. Many had failed before her, but she made it to the final match. The gate opened. Lena stepped into the arena. The sunlight hit her face. The crowd grew louder. Some cheered. Many others whispered and pointed. "She looks too small. That shield will break in seconds. Why is she even here?" Vor stepped out from the other side. The ground shook with each of his steps. He raised his arms and the crowd roared. When the two fighters met in the center, Vor looked down at Lena and laughed. "Little human," he said loudly, "this is the finals. Did you lose your way?" Lena looked up at him and answered calmly, "No, I belong here." The crowd went quiet for a second. Then laughter spread again. Vor raised his hand toward her shield. "That toy will not save you. Go back now and save yourself the shame." Lena did not reply. She tightened her grip on the shield and took her position. The arena master, a tall alien with silver robes, floated between them. He raised both hands. "The final match of the Trials of Strength will now begin. This is not only a contest of power, but also of skill, focus, and spirit. You may fight with honor. Begin when the light turns green." The arena lights turned red. Vor raised his heavy hammer and cracked his neck. Lena bent her knees and readied her shield. The light turned yellow. The crowd leaned forward in their seats. Green. Vor moved first. His speed was surprising for his size. He rushed toward Lena with a loud cry. His hammer came down with full force. Lena jumped to the side just in time. The ground where she stood cracked from the strike. She blocked the next hit with her shield. The impact pushed her back, but she stayed on her feet. Sparks flew from the shield, but it held strong. Vor smiled. "Better than I thought. Still not enough." He attacked again. Lena blocked, dodged, and rolled. She never tried to strike back. She waited, watched. Each move was careful. Each step was part of a plan from the stands. Some of the audience began to notice. She's not trying to win with strength. She's watching him, studying. But her shield won't last long. Back in the ring, Vor took a step back and pointed at her. "Why do you run? Afraid to fight?" Lena answered softly. "I'm not running. I'm thinking." Vor frowned. then charged again. This time he hit her shield hard. A long crack appeared across it. The crowd gasped. Lena dropped to one knee but got up again quickly. Her breathing was heavy now. Sweat covered her forehead. Still, she stood tall. Voer stepped back, laughing. That was just a taste of real power. Lena said nothing. The first round ended. The arena lights turned blue. The two fighters returned to their corners. Vor drank a glowing liquid from a metal flask. His assistant floated near him and whispered, "She's still standing." Vor shrugged. Not for long. Lena sat on a stone bench and checked the crack in her shield. She pressed a small button on her wrist. A soft pulse blinked green. She smiled. This is not just about strength, she whispered to herself. The crowd waited for round 2. Whispers turned into conversations. Maybe this human is different. She's calm. She's planning something. Can she really win? The arena lights began to glow again. The second round was about to begin, and no one was laughing anymore. The arena lights flashed green again. The second round had begun. The crowd grew louder. Voices full of excitement and curiosity. Many still believed Vor would win. But now they were not so sure. Lena had lasted longer than expected. Her cracked shield had become a symbol of quiet strength. Vor stepped forward first. He moved with confidence, his heavy boots shaking the ground. His hammer rested on his shoulder. He looked across the field at Lena, who stood with her back straight and her shield lifted. "You are still standing, little human," he said with a smirk. "That is surprising." Lena did not reply. She moved slowly in a circle, keeping her distance. Her eyes stayed on Vor's hands and feet. Every movement he made, she noticed. Vor pointed at her with his hammer. "I gave you a chance to step away, but you stay. Are you trying to prove something?" Still, Lena stayed quiet. Her calm face gave nothing away. Her breathing was steady. Her steps light. Vor chuckled. "Then let me remind you why I'm the champion." He rushed forward again, this time faster than before. His hammer swung through the air like a falling star. Lena rolled to the side. The ground shook when the hammer hit, sending dust and energy into the sky. She blocked the next hit with her shield, and this time the crack grew wider. The shield pulsed red, warning of damage. But Lena kept moving, never staying in one spot. For more than a few seconds, from the audience, some observers began to see a pattern. She's tiring him out. Look how often he swings. She makes him miss again and again. She's not trying to beat him with strength. She's using time. High above the arena, inside the judges' tower, the match monitors were tracking everything. A screen showed power levels, movement speed, and endurance. Vor's strength level was still high, but his endurance bar was starting to drop. Lena's strength was lower, but her endurance stayed steady. Her movements were clean, sharp, and controlled. In the arena, Vor felt it too. His arms were heavier than before. He had hit the ground more times than he had hit her. His hammer was powerful, but every missed swing took energy. He stopped for a moment and looked at her. "You run well, human. But can you fight?" Lena took a breath. She raised her shield again. Fighting is not always hitting. Sometimes it is thinking. Vor narrowed his eyes. "You speak like a teacher," Lena replied. "Maybe I am teaching you something." The crowd laughed. Some began to cheer for her now. It was not loud, but it was real. A small group of aliens in the front row stood up and clapped. Vor's pride burned. He rushed again. Lena jumped back, slid to the side, and let him pass. He turned, swinging fast, but she blocked with her shield, and this time she added a twist. The hammer bounced off at a strange angle. Vor stumbled slightly. She had learned his rhythm. He growled and moved slower this time, trying to confuse her. He faked a left swing, then turned to the right. Lena raised her shield in the wrong direction, and the hammer hit her side. She flew back a few steps but kept her balance. The crowd gasped. Lena stood up again. Her shield now had two cracks, and the energy pulse was blinking faster. But she smiled. "You got me that time," she said. Vor grinned. "I will get you every time now." But as he stepped forward, his foot dragged slightly. He took another step and blinked. His legs felt heavier. His breath was faster. He looked at his hammer, then at Lena. "What have you done?" Lena pressed the device on her wrist. It blinked green again. "I told you. I'm thinking. Every time you swing, I count. Every time you hit the ground, I learn. You think I'm weak because I'm small. But strength is more than size," Force shouted. "You tricked me." Lena nodded. "I waited. I watched. Now your arms are slow. And your steps are heavy." The arena lights turned yellow. The second round was near its end. Lena stepped forward for the first time in the match. For raised his hammer. But slower than before, she didn't strike. She moved fast around his side and tapped his armor with the edge of her shield. A small spark lit up. Vor turned quickly, trying to grab her, but she was already behind him. The crowd was standing now. Cheers rose from different sections. The human was fighting back, not with strength, but with intelligence. Vor swung once more. Lena blocked. With her shield, and the center broke open. A bright blue light burst out as the shield shut down. The metal fell to the ground, but Lena still stood. The round ended. The lights turned blue again. The two fighters returned to their sides. Vor sat down, breathing heavily. His assistant floated near, looking worried. "You used too much energy." The assistant said, "Your hits were powerful, but most missed." Vor didn't speak. He looked at his hammer. For the first time, he felt unsure. On the other side, Lena sat with her broken shield beside her. She picked up a small device and looked at the data. Her plan was working. A soft voice spoke from her earpiece. It was her mentor back on Earth. "Watching the match, your shield is gone. Are you ready for the next part?" Lena smiled. "Yes. Now, we show them something new." The arena lights began to glow once more. Round 3 was about to begin. The champion was strong, but now he was also tired. And the human was just getting started. The bright lights of the arena dimmed slightly as the third round began. The crowd's energy was high. They were no longer just watching a fight. They were watching a story unfold, a story about strength and heart and something new. Vor stood in his corner, his heavy armor scratched and worn, his breath coming in quick bursts. His hammer resting on the ground, but his eyes were sharp. He was still the champion, and he was not ready to lose. Across the arena, Lena stood tall, her shield broken, but her spirit strong. She held a small device in her hand. She looked calm and ready. The crowd watched closely, wondering what she would do next. Arena master's voice echoed over the speakers. "Round 3 begins now. Fight with honor and skill." Vor charged immediately, his warhammer swinging with great force. Lena moved with grace and speed. But now she did not only dodge, she used the small device on her wrist. And suddenly a soft blue light surrounded her body. The crowd gasped in surprise. A shield, but it was not a physical one. It was a shield of energy that shimmered and glowed like a thin wall of water. Vor swung his hammer again, and this time the hammer hit the energy shield. The force pushed back Vor. His feet stumbled, but he did not fall. Lena smiled. She took a step forward. "I told you my strength is not just muscle." Vor growled and charged again. But every strike hit the blue shield and was stopped. He tried to break it, but it held strong. He swung harder and harder, but his arms grew to red. Lena moved carefully, watching him every time he struck. She felt his power fading. The crowd was silent for a moment. Then they started to cheer loudly. "Go, human, go." From the judge's tower, a voice said, "This energy shield is an advanced human technology. It absorbs energy and protects the user from strong attacks. This changes the fight completely." Vor wiped sweat from his brow. He was no longer sure. He looked at Lena with new respect. "You are clever. I will give you that." Lena nodded. "And I'm not done yet." The two fighters circled each other carefully. Lena's energy shield flickered as it blocked the strong attacks. Vor tried to find a way to break it, but every time he swung his hammer, the shield held firm. Vor's movement slowed. He was getting tired, and he realized this fight was different from all the others he had won. Suddenly, Lena moved quickly. She reached out with her free hand and touched Vor's armor. A small pulse of energy ran from her fingertips into his suit. Vor froze. His hammer dropped slightly, and his armor glowed briefly. The crowd gasped in surprise. "What did you do?" Vor asked angrily. Lena smiled softly. "I used your own energy against you two." Slow you down, Vor shook his head. Impossible. Lena stepped back. Impossible only means you have not seen it yet, Vor growled and tried to attack again. But his movements were slower, and his strength was fading. Energy shield round. Lena glowed brighter, and she raised her voice so the whole arena could hear. Strength is not only about power, it is about mind and heart, and today humanity shows both. The crowd erupted in cheers, and many stood to applaud. Vor looked around at the crowd, then back at Lena. He nodded slowly. You are a worthy opponent. Lena lowered her shield and smiled. Thank you, champion. The arena master raised his hands. This round ends here. Judges will decide the next steps. Both fighters stepped back. The arena filled with noise and excitement. Everyone knew this was no ordinary fight. It was a battle of more than strength. It was a test of will. And until Ever sat down in his corner, his breathing heavy, he looked at Lena with new respect. The champion's pride was challenged but not broken. Lena sat quietly and checked her device. She knew the fight was not over, but she was ready for what came next. Outside the arena in the crowd, many talked about the human fighter. Many who doubted her now believed she had shown the galaxy that humans were strong in ways they never expected. A small child in the audience looked up at her parents. Can humans really be champions? The father smiled. Yes, my child, sometimes the smallest can be the strongest. The mother nodded, and the smartest can win too. The sun began to set over the floating city of Tal Mars. The trials of strength had only just begun. But everyone knew something had changed that day in the arena. A human named Lena was not just a fighter, she was a symbol of hope and strength. The arena was filled with excitement and tension. The crowd waited eagerly for the next round to begin. The fight between Vor and Lena was more than just a battle. It had become a story of courage and determination. Vor stood in the center of his corner, his armor heavy and scratched, his breathing deep but steady. He looked at the broken remains of Lena's old shield. That shield had taken many hits, but now it was gone. Lena adjusted the strap on her arm where the shield used to be. Her small energy device pulsed softly. Her eyes were focused and calm. She knew this round would be the most difficult, yet the arena master's voice rang out clear and strong. Round 4 begins now. Fight with honor and skill. Vor moved quickly, his warhammer raised high. He rushed toward Lena with full power. The ground shook with each step. His voice echoed across the arena. You have no shield now. How will you protect yourself? Lena smiled quietly. I do not need a shield like before. I have learned more. Then Defensiver swung his hammer down hard. Lena raised her energy shield. It flickered once and then shattered completely. Sparks flew as the shield broke into pieces. The crowd gasped loudly. Some worried for Lena, but she did not fall. She stood tall, her eyes bright with determination. Vor laughed loudly. You are finished, little human. Your tricks are gone. Lena took a deep breath, and with no shield she did not back away. Instead, she moved faster than before. She used her speed to dodge and weave around Vor's attacks. The crowd was amazed. How could she fight without her shield? Without any protection, Lena's hands moved quickly. Her small device sent pulses of energy that helped her jump higher and move faster. She was light on her feet and hard to hit. Vor tried to catch her, but she was too quick. Every time he swung his hammer, she was gone. If the fighters moved like dancers, their battle became a game of skill. In mind, Vor used his strength. Lena used her speed and cleverness. Vor shouted, you cannot run forever, human. Face me and fight. Lena smiled and said, I never run. I only wait for the right moment. Suddenly, Lena jumped high and landed behind Vor. She reached out and touched his armor again. A pulse of energy went into his suit. His movement slowed further. Returned quickly, but it was too late. Lena was already in front of him. She pushed him gently but firmly, and he stumbled forward. The crowd cheered loudly. The impossible was happening. The human was not only surviving, she was fighting back with new strength. Vor shook his head. He could not believe it. He had never met an opponent like this one. Lena stood strong, her energy device glowing bright. She said softly, strength is more than power. It is mind, heart, and will. Vor looked at her and nodded slowly. I respect you, human. You have shown great courage. The arena master raised his voice. The round has ended. Judges will now decide the winner of this battle. Both fighters stepped back, breathing hard but standing tall. The crowd clapped and cheered for Bot. Outside the arena, many talked about the fight. They spoke of Lena's courage and skill. They spoke of Vor's strength And Honora, a young alien woman, said to her friend, "This human is different. She has the heart of a true champion." The friend smiled. "Yes, she has changed how we see humans in the galaxy." The sun set slowly over the city of Tal Mars. The trials of strength were reaching their end. But the story of Lena and Vor would be told for many years. The crowd was loud and full of energy. The arena was alive with excitement. As the next round was about to start, both fighters had shown great skill and heart. But now everything was about to change. Vor stood tall but tired, his armor scratched and heavy, his breath coming faster, his hammer still strong but his movement slower. He knew this fight was harder than any before. Lena was ready, her eyes bright with focus. Her small energy device glowing softly. She felt strong inside, even though the battle was tough. Her broken shield lay on the ground, but she was not afraid. The arena master's voice rang clear. "Round 5 begins. Fight with honor and skill. Remove first." His hammer swinging hard and fast, but Lena was quicker. She dodged each attack with grace, her feet barely touching the ground. Suddenly, Lena stopped moving. She stood still in the center of the arena, her energy shield glowing brighter than ever. The crowd watched silently, wondering what she would do next. For frowned. He took a step forward, but Lena raised her hand, and from her device came a powerful wave of blue light. It spread like a shield around her body, protecting her complete. Alive crowd gasped, and all this was something new, a full energy shield, strong enough to block even Vor's strongest strikes. Vor charged, but his hammer hit the blue shield and bounced back. He stumbled and took a step back, his breath heavy, his eyes wide with surprise. Lena smiled softly. This was her moment, her strength, her skill, and her mind all working together. She said calmly, "Strength is not only what you see, it is what you feel." Instead, ever tried again, but the shield held firm. Every strike was stopped. Every attack blocked. His energy was fading and his movements slowing. The crowd cheered loudly. They saw the power of human courage and intelligence. They cheered for Lena and the new champion in the making. Suddenly, Lena stepped forward and lowered her shield. She moved fast and struck Vor lightly with her fist. The impact was not strong, but it surprised him. He looked at her with new respect. "You are a brave human. I will not underestimate you anymore." Lena nodded, and with a smile, "I am not here to fight for anger. I fight for honor and hope." The arena master raised his voice. "The round is over. Judges will now decide the winner." Both fighters stepped back, their bodies tired, but their spirits high. The crowd clapped and cheered for Bot. Outside the arena, the city of Tal Mars shone bright. The stars above seemed to shine just a little brighter. That night, a small child looked up at the sky and asked her mother, "Will a human win?" Mother smiled. "Yes, child, sometimes the smallest and the smartest win the greatest battles." The crowd waited for the final decision. The judges would soon announce who would be the new champion. Lena stood quietly, thinking about her journey from Earth to this moment. She felt proud and ready for what was next. Vor sat quietly, his pride still strong, but now mixed with respect and a hint of doubt. He knew this fight was more than strength. It was about heart and mind. The arena lights dimmed. The judge's voice filled the air. "The winner of the trials of strength is." Crowd held its breath, waiting for the nominative. Arena erupted in cheers. Lena smiled and looked at Vor, who stood and nodded, walked toward her, and extended his hand. "You fought well, human. You are worthy of the title." Champion Lena shook his hand and said, "Thank you, champion. I hope we both show the galaxy that strength is many things." The crowd cheered again as Lena raised her hand in victory. The new champion, the story of the human who challenged, and one was just beginning, a story of courage, heart, and hope that would inspire many across the stars. The arena was quiet now. The fight was over, but the energy still lingered. The crowd waited to see what would happen next. Lena stood in the center, her breath steady, her eyes shining with pride. She looked around at the many faces, some cheering, some in awesome nodding in respect. Vor stepped forward slowly, but with purpose. His heavy steps made a sound across the arena floor. He stopped before Lena and bowed his head. "You have earned this title," he said in a low voice. "You fought with heart and mind. You are a true champion." Lena smiled warmly. "Thank you, for you are a great opponent. I have learned much from you." The crowd watched silently as the two champions stood together, a symbol of strength and respect from different worlds. Suddenly, the arena master's voice broke the silence. "Champion Lena, the council invites you to the Hall of Honor. Your victory is not just yours, But for all who fight with courage, Lena nodded and followed the guards out of the arena. The path was bright and filled with people congratulating her in the Hall of Honor. The council members stood waiting, their faces serious, but kind. They spoke of bravery and unity, and the importance of peace among all. Raceone elders stepped forward and placed a glowing medal round Lena's neck. This medal is a sign of respect and trust. May you lead with wisdom and strength. Lena held the medal carefully. I will do my best to honor this trust and to show that humans can be strong and kind. Outside the hall, Vor met her again. The galaxy will remember this day. He said, you have changed many minds. Lena nodded. I hope this is just the beginning, a chance for all of us to learn and grow together. As the sun set over the city of Talmaris, Lena looked up at the stars. She felt proud, but also ready for the challenges ahead. Her journey was far from over, but now she carried not only her own strength, but the respect of many worlds. Crowd slowly left the arena talking about the human champion and the new hope she brought. A young boy whispered to his friend, maybe one day I will fight like her. The friend smiled, yes, and maybe we will all be stronger. Because of her, the trials of strength had ended, but a new story had begun, a story of courage, honor, and friendship across the stars. The city of Talmaris was calm under the early morning light. The sky was painted with soft colors as the sun slowly rose over the horizon. The trials of strength had ended. A new chapter was about to begin. Lena stood on the balcony of the Grand Hall. Her champion medal hung around her neck, catching the first rays of sunlight. She looked out over the city, feeling a deep sense of pride and hope. The journey had been long and difficult, but she had proven something important. Humans were strong, smart, and brave. Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft voice behind her. Vor stepped beside her, his heavy armor quiet in the morning air. He looked tired but peaceful. You changed many hearts in this arena, Vor said, not just through your strength, but through your courage and kindness. Lena smiled. I could not have done it without your challenge. You pushed me to be better. Vor nodded. It is good to see respect between us. The galaxy needs more of this. Together, they watched as the city slowly came alive. People of different races and worlds moved through the streets, children played and laughed, and merchants prepared their stalls. It was a day of new beginnings. Later, in the great hall, the council gathered once more. They spoke of peace and cooperation, inspired by the trials. Lena was asked to speak. She stepped forward, her voice steady and clear. Today is not just about winning a fight. It is about showing that no matter where we come from, we can learn from each other and work together. Strength is more than power. It is hope, courage, and respect. The crowd listened quietly. When she finished, applause filled the room. It was not just for her, but for the future she had helped create. Days passed, and Lena traveled across Talmaris, meeting leaders and citizens. She shared stories of Earth and listened to tales from other worlds. Each meeting deepened her belief that peace was possible. One evening, she sat by the water with Vor. The stars reflected on the calm surface. Do you think the galaxy is ready for change? Lena asked. Vor thought for a moment. Change is never easy, but you have shown that even one person can make a difference. I believe it is possible. Lena smiled. Then we keep trying. Together, the story of Lena, the human champion, spread across the stars. She became a symbol of hope and courage. And though the trials were over, her journey of friendship and peace was just beginning. As the night deepened, Lena looked up at the stars again. She whispered softly, a new dawn is coming. And with that, the future shone bright for all.